There are two kinds of people in this world. The people who fail to do what they know they should, and those who keep doing things they know they shouldn't. Guess what? You're both. Hi, I'm your host, life and business coach, Marcy Barker, aka your loving kick in the pants. In this podcast, I'll teach you the 6 steps of my accountability code that will help you wake up with clarity and show up with aligned action steps that make follow through easy and peaceful. All right, let's jump in. Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to Your Loving Kick in the Pants, the very first ever solo episode. Yes, I did a season 1 recap where it was just me, but this one's going to be a little bit different. And I want to give a shout out to my podcast manager, Andrea with Digital Co-Creative. She's amazing. I told her I wanted to start my podcast. She showed up to my retreat, did everything for me, and we have a pretty good handle on this little operation that we're doing. And I just decided, I just want to talk more. I want to dive into the topics that you guys need help with. And as a podcast on accountability, I want it to be way more like time to get stuff done. You're done listening. Yes, you've heard some great stories from great guests, but as an accountability podcast, I want this to be something that lights you up and helps you take action in a very immediate way. And my client stories have been great. My guests have been amazing, but it's time to do some solo stuff because I love talking and I absolutely love the consistency we've had with this podcast. And I actually told Andrea, I said, I don't want to know any of my stats until I've done podcasting for a year. So I don't know, maybe I'm talking to 3 people, maybe I'm talking to 300. I don't even know, but I am so grateful for the people who have showed up and have told me this podcast is helping me take action. That's really what it's all about. So today I want to dive in and talk about a topic that I am seeing so much of a need for, which is how do you provide value as a business owner so that when it's time to cash in, it works and you actually make money from your following. But before I do that, I want to give a little bit of a backstory. So you guys have heard me before reference the group that I admin called Lady Bosses of Utah. I have made a ton of connections there and I'm so grateful for the group. That's actually where I spend a ton of my time on social media, is right there in that Facebook group. So Lady Bosses of Utah started in January of 2021, and it was not started by me. I did not put it together. I actually got this message from this cute girl. Her name was Sarah. She's the founding admin. And she said that she had started a community, but she's very introverted and she needed an extrovert to blow it up, essentially. And she had been following me online for quite a while and just knew that I was popping up everywhere. So she reached out. And the reason that I hopped on, I'm not even going to lie, it just played to my ego that I was like, oh, you've been following me? You know that I talk a lot? I could totally be the face of whatever you need me to do. But in business and in a space of women, that's just where I thrive. I love helping people. I love talking, but I also have been doing this online business game for quite a while. I started my own business in September of 2015, which is crazy. That's coming up on 8 years. I've learned a lot. I've had a team of people. I have hired people. I have fired people. I have created dozens of online programs. I've discontinued programs. I've had a membership. I've tried that out. I've taught hundreds of in-person classes. I've done a lot of stuff. So that has also come with a lot of problems, a lot of trials, a lot of struggles, and having a platform that somebody was like, hey, we need you to just come and talk and share. And I was like, that's me. You found the jackpot, girl. So anyway, Lady Bosses has just been a community that has grown so much because of the value that is shared within the community. Now, when it comes to sharing value, the topic of this podcast, I want to reiterate the importance of sharing value as a business owner. So the reason why Lady Bosses of Utah is such an engaging group, and I'm talking 99% of our members are engaged, and we just hit 2,600 members. So there's a lot of stuff happening, not just in the Facebook group, but in person. People are showing up to support each other. Now, through this massive, quick growth of high engaging growth, I have seen some patterns and I've seen some habits that have come from the hustle and bustle grind of entrepreneurship in social media. So I want to talk about the problem. A lot of business owners do not know how to share value. They get into a Facebook group and they just start pitching. They just start posting links. They just start saying, like my page, buy my stuff. And any business that you hope to grow, you have to know what makes you different. You have to know what we call a USP, your unique selling proposition. So when Sarah reached out to me and was like, be an admin of this group, it's like, I've been an admin of a lot of groups, but this was a new opportunity to say, how is this one going to be different? Now, that's where I came up with the rule. Some people might think it's a dreaded rule when they get tagged in the post of, warning, you broke the rule. But let me tell you what the rule is. And I'm just going to pull this up from my Facebook group. So I wrote this. This is the official warning post. You will be tagged in this post if you need a reminder about our rules. We are about to put restrictions on your account, or you'll be invited out of the group. One of our group rules is to post 2 to 3 value, education, motivation posts for every sales or promotion post. Okay, I'll read more of that post in just a second. But the reason why this had to become a rule is because business owners on social media have rarely been taught how to share value so that customers are nurtured and clients are informed and the business owner can be top of mind. So when that client's ready to take action, they already know about the solution because they've seen it. Okay. So the problem that a lot of business owners have is they're like, share value. Like, I don't know how to do that. What do I have a value to share? And you would be surprised at how many people I've tagged in this post and they're like, I don't know how to do that. Or here's another thing. A lot of people get into a Facebook group and they lurk. They just watch. They might comment or like things, but they're like, I'm not going to make a post. And I will be honest, there are some people who are like, Marcy, I have not made a post in the group because I think that you're going to get mad at me or I'm going to do it wrong or whatever. So part of this podcast is to let you know, like, hey, we will do this together and there's no need to get in trouble if you just, number one, follow the rules, but number two, just do business right. Like, it just makes a lot of sense that you're not going to walk up to somebody's house and say, hey, can I sell you this thing? Yes, there are people who do that, but that's why everybody has a no soliciting sign on their door, okay? Social media needs to be the same thing. You're essentially walking into a community hoping to get something out of it, but it's not that easy, and it's not going to be that sustainable unless you know how to share value. Hey listeners, the message of waking up and showing up is yours for the taking. In fact, it's free. I've recorded my entire audiobook and I'd love for you to consume it between episodes. Head to marcybarker.com to get instant access to the accountability code Wake Up and Show Up. All right, let's jump back in. Now, if you're on the other end of this thinking like, yeah, I want to share value, but tell me how. Like, I want to, but I don't really know what to do. I'm glad you're here because the importance of waking up and showing up and being accountable to this one little thing, sharing value, will change the direction of your business. And I dare say it just might keep you in business because a lot of business owners, they're like, oh, I'm not getting any sales. I don't have any customers. Yet they are not even talking to their customers. They're not even sharing value to their customers in a way that gets them to put their hand in their pocket and pull out their money. Anyway, what needs to happen is sharing value, because if you don't, you will essentially go out of business. If your customers or clients don't know what you can actually provide in an authentic way, they're never going to buy from you, especially on social media. Because another problem with not sharing value on social media is that if you show up, you open up your phone and you have no intention to share value, guess what you're going to do? You're going to scroll. You're just going to scroll. You're going to watch other people. You're going to feel jealous. You're going to believe that everybody else in the world is successful and you're not. You're going to believe that they have figured it out and you haven't. Please, 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 please understand that you are amazing. You have things to share you just need to be taught how to package it up so that people can take advantage of it in an authentic way, in a very fair way, where you can share something, they can engage with you, and then you start a relationship that may or may not turn into money in your pocket. But sharing value is not just about creating dollars. It's about creating an environment where your business can grow and it can thrive and it can make the best decisions. Okay. All right, so let me go back to this post because I want to teach you how to share some value. Okay. Here are just some tips when it comes to posting in a Facebook group or any community without promoting yourself, okay? Because sharing value, yes, you're like, well, Marcy, what if I have an event and it's very valuable and I can teach women this, this, and this, and that? It's like, yes, that can be valuable, but keep in mind when you are pitching or promoting something and you are trying to get people to give back to you their time or their money or their energy, then the value exchange may not be fair. And we can talk more about that. Maybe not in this podcast, but maybe we'll touch on it. So let me continue reading this post. What is value/education/motivation? Okay. First one, tell us something about your industry. Okay. So I have a client, she does permanent makeup. Okay. And when she came to one of my masterminds, she's like, what am I supposed to share of value? And I'm like, what are questions that people always get? Like, how many different kinds of eyebrow tattoos are there? I've heard of like soft tap. I've heard of microblading. I've heard of henna. And I'm sure there's like way more out there. I'm like, tell us about that. Teach us about that. Help us know the difference so that when we look in the mirror and we think we need our eyebrows done, we have some sort of information to think about. And we're going to say, oh, that girl taught me that. I bet she knows what she's talking about. So if I ever get my eyebrows done, I'm probably going to go to her or I'm going to go ask her more questions. Okay. Another thing, provide a motivational quote and tell us why it means something to you. Now, I had to add that little thing on the end and tell us why it means something to you because you all have seen this too. You go into a Facebook group and people just share motivational quotes. It's like not even stuff they created. It's stuff that they're sharing images and you're like, yeah, this is a feel good, but like, what does this mean to me? So if I see the same person like sharing motivational quotes, that doesn't tell me anything about them or their business. That just tells me that they have found an account that they like on social media and they're sharing it in hopes of becoming that authority that they've been following. Let me tell you guys, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Like we can see motivational memes and inspirational quotes all day long, but that is not going to tie us to you unless you tell us why it means something to you. How have you been transformed by taking this information and how can that be an example to us? Okay. So if you are one of those people who is like, oh, I just need to post something. I need to keep something on my stories for 24 hours. It's like, go a little bit deeper and tell your audience why this quote is valuable to you and open the door for them to share something with you so you can start a relationship there. Okay. Another topic on this post is give to this group by uplifting others and purchasing goods or services. So like I have mentioned before, like sharing value is great, but if you are always doing it with the intention to make money, to sell something, like wouldn't it be nice if somebody was scrolling through the group with the intention to purchase from you? That is a really beautiful thing. And that also makes lady bosses so awesome because there are women in the group who do that. They're like, I am learning in this group. I love this group and I want to support people in this group. And they will start searching up what they're interested in supporting. So this is not necessarily sharing value. This is you being the kind of person that you want to attract. So I would like to ask you, ask yourself, when's the last time you supported a woman in business that was very similar to you? Have you invested in the sort of things that you're trying to sell to other people? And are you even in the mindset range to work with somebody like you? I got on a call with somebody in the group. She was asking about her prices and her prices were anywhere from $500 to $10,000. And she made the post, by the way, which is a value post. If you're sharing about things you're working on, like that's a value post because that is valuable information for every single entrepreneur who is trying to figure out their pricing. Anyway, so she's getting a ton of feedback and people are like, charge your worth. This is great. This is valuable. Other people had really specific questions like, have you ever charged this before? Have you ever invested in a coach at this level before? So really, really good stuff to figure out. So I told this person, I said, hey, let's hop on a call and we can talk about this. So as we were talking about her services, I asked her, I said, how many clients do you have right now? And she said 0. And I said, okay, your highest package is, $10,000 for the year. Have you ever invested in a coach for that price? And she was like, oh no, I don't have that kind of money. So I said, okay, that's good information. Do you have any friends who have ever invested that much in a coach? And she's like, no, I don't have any friends that would be able to spend that kind of money. And I asked her, I said, okay, so you are trying to sell or convert a client with a mindset that you are so unaware of. Like you have never spent that kind of money, so you don't know what goes on in your brain. And you don't have any friends who have ever spent that kind of money, so you don't even know what they're thinking. So it's very hard to sell something when you're not even speaking the same language of the person you're trying to attract. Now, this brings me back to this point of give to the group by purchasing goods or services. When you are a purchaser or somebody who's looking to hire somebody for a solution, your brain is going to start to ask you questions that help you determine if you should be spending that money. Now, keep going with me here. If you're like, okay, I want to hire a coach, and you start going through a Facebook group and you're like, I'm looking for a coach, and you find somebody in the group who is just like posting motivational quotes, like no stories, no experiences, no client testimonials, just motivational quotes. Are you going to hire that coach? I sure hope you don't, because you can find motivational quotes anywhere for free on the internet. Okay. Let's take it this way. Go back to the eyebrow example. If you're like, I'm going to go get my eyebrows done and I want to know who to go to, and you scroll through this group of all these women in business and you find somebody who's just like, buy my sale, buy my sale, buy my sale. Hey, I have openings. I'm giving a 50% discount. Like, would you work with that person? You might, but what happens if you come across the person who is constantly educating in the group? And you guys know us, we spend tons and tons of time on social media, but if you can be educated, then guess what? That second girl who is spending the time to educate their people, she is creating a value exchange where this person is looking into eyebrows and they've gotten all this information. Well, that content has taken the time to convert this person closer to becoming a paying client. Okay. So value, when it comes to sharing value, I want you to recognize the importance of putting yourself into the buyer's position. What are they thinking? What are they looking for? And on the other side, as a seller or a business owner, how can you be providing those answers to the questions they are asking? Okay. Another point on this post is to tell us about your positive experience or relationship with another lady boss. Now, the reason why this is considered a value post is because this is evidence to a community that's growing and supporting each other. So this is kind of like a little trade. It's like, okay, I'm an admin of Lady Bosses. If you want to be in this group and you want to eventually sell your stuff, well, I need to know that you're helping build this community so that it becomes a really good place. Not only that, I put in here, share with us a positive experience, because nothing is more draining than social media full of whiny complaints and pity parties. So do yourself a favor and go into social media with the intention of being positive and sharing something good, because I can guarantee when you look for something good, you're going to find it. Okay, next point, share what you've been working on in business without posting a link to a page or a sale. So that brings us back to my other friend that I talked about when she shared her pricing. Like, hey, these are my new programs. This is what it would include. Here's the pricing. She was genuinely asking for feedback. And she wasn't like, oh, by the way, here's my brand new pricing and you can buy it. Like, here's a link to sign up with me. She did it the right way by ruminating on this potential change in her business. Now, from that insider information, I told you she has 0 clients. So when she is trying to share value, she will be ready to do that after she's done some of the work. The beautiful thing is that she has a group of 2,600 women that can help her through that process. And I'm just going to call her a smart woman because she booked a free call with me. So we got down to a much more clear idea of what she needs to do to nurture those clients that will come through dollars in her pocket. So the last thing on here to share value is come to an event. And whether you are local or not, showing up and supporting people in their events is not only a good way to obviously show your support, but you're going to meet people while you're there. And social media is an amazing place, but it's also not entirely real just because it's impossible to see somebody's entire life through a few posts. But when you get in person, you're able to connect with people on a deeper level, just even through body language, eye contact, shaking a hand, and, not being able to just scroll away or close the app or get distracted by a notification. So when it comes to sharing value, I hope that you recognize there's a way to start doing that. Like right now, hey, you could even listen to this podcast while you are sharing value in a post. Okay. So what I want to do is give you the opportunity to improve right now. And I hope that some of those ideas that I have shared will help you feel more empowered in your business and give an answer as to maybe why you're not doing as well as you think or thought you could, or as well as people tell you can. I always think twice. When I was really growing my fitness business and we were learning how to do funnels and upsells and order bumps and all that stuff, I came across a lot of people in social media, especially in fitness on Instagram. And I had to remind myself that I didn't know the back end. Like I had no idea if these people were making money. And I actually had this cute girl that I got certified through Zumba with, and we had just stayed in contact. And all of a sudden I see her blowing up on social media. Like the person she was working with, backstory, I knew him. He was married to this super hot fitness influencer. He built up her business. They got a divorce and he needed a new face for his brand. So he found this friend of mine I got certified with. So I'm like watching her. I'm seeing her pop up on ads everywhere. And I'm like, this is cool to see her. And I messaged her. We talked briefly about like growing business, and she shared with me, she's like, this sucks. Like I'm working so hard and I'm not making anything, and they're kind of using me for ads and they're making money on the back end in this way. And I was like, wow, I had no idea, especially from the outside picture. Like I would never, ever thought that she was having such a hard time and also not making money from all of her efforts. So keep that in mind, guys. When you go through social media, I want you to have the intention of sharing value, because value is real. And if you don't have that intention to share value, then you're going to be susceptible to all of the things that are coming at you on social media. You have to take action in changing your mindset, and leading with the intention to share value is something you can do right here in this moment. And it's fun when you start to make friends on social media and you start to have people show up and support you, and you start to have consistency in what you're sharing. You're going to hone in on your message. You're going to hone in on who your ideal client is. You're going to recognize which business practices or offers make more sense for you. I did a call yesterday with a girl who was just kind of like losing her zest for her business. And there are so many details I could talk about, but the funniest thing that we came across, I took her through the accountability code so we could see what it revealed to be her perfect action steps. And we talked about knowing her numbers, because if you don't know your expenses and your income, then it's really hard to make a decision if you should continue in business or just quit. And so when I suggested that commitment item to her, she's like, I don't know why I need to do that. Like, I don't know why I have to know all my numbers. And she's in a beautiful place where, she started her own business. She's renting out a commercial kitchen, and her husband is like just okay with her being a stay-at-home wife on the days she doesn't feel like working. So I told her, I said, if you can put together your numbers, then you can not only tell your husband what the reality of the situation is, but you can decide if you want to continue in business or if you just want to cut your losses and be done. And I said, okay, you sell this item and this item. How many of those items do you need to sell in order to make your expenses? And she's like, oh, I would love to figure that out because I just started this chocolate subscription box. And I was like, that is freaking cool. I would absolutely love a chocolate subscription box now that I'm not a fitness coach. So as we kept talking, she was like super excited to do this thing. And she can now see how there is value in what she's working on. There's more excitement to grow her business because she can see it's not just all about sales. Like, this is where I'm getting back to. A lot of business owners, they just have never been taught these things on how to share value or even the importance of putting together your expense list. So what I want you to do, because you're listening to a podcast about accountability, is I want you to ask yourself, how am I sharing value within my community? And you can even apply this to your own family. How am I sharing value towards my family before I ask them to do things for me? And the ability to share value not only is a sustainable business practice, but it's going to make you happier in this moment right now because you're looking at your gifts, you're sharing what's important to you, and you're looking to build relationships. All of those things are going to make you happier now, but they're also really, really good factors when it comes to growing a sustainable business that is successful. So I would love if you guys would share with me what you're thinking, or if you're still like, I'm kind of scared to make a post. Like, I am more than happy to ask you a few questions about your business and then come up with 30 different ideas on how to share value within your industry and what your offers are. At the end of the day, listeners, I want you to know that you have so much value to share. And when the right intention is placed behind it, taking action is so easy. And that's the purpose of the accountability code, is to align your mind and body so follow through becomes easy. And you can apply this process to anything in life and business. So today, I want you to go out and share some value because you have it in you. And now you're more motivated, you're more clear, and I hope that you are more invested in who you are as a person and a business owner. Hey friends, I want to thank you for listening to this episode of Your Loving Kick in the Pants. If you got any value out of this episode, I would love for you to drop me a review or share with a friend what you learned. All right, I'll see you next Wednesday for Your Loving Kick in the Pants.